Hello everyone and welcome to the first game we'll be showing from the FIDE World Cup 2023 where the participants will be fighting for the chance to be in the next candidates tournament. So the top 3 finishers will qualify for the next FIDE candidates tournament, and the first game that we are showing is the first game that I think is the first game that actually finished in round 1 of this year's FIDE World Cup. We have a Turkish international master Ediz Gürel versus Serbian grandmaster Velimir Ivic, and it's quite an attacking game. You guys will love it. One thing that I do have to mention that it's first 16 moves over the game are known theory, and then the game just completely collapses. So you'll see what I mean by this. And it's a very important tournament for Ediz, not just, of course, to fight strong opponents, but he already has 2 grandmaster norms. If he gains one more, he becomes a grandmaster himself, and he qualified for this event by getting 14th place in the European Championship, where the top 20 get seeded directly into the FIDE World Cup. And maybe you don't know this, the top 50 via rating do not play in round 1. So Magnus, Hikaru, Fabian, Ish, they will not be playing in the first round. They are seeded directly into the second round, and I think Velimir Ivic is something like 54th seed, so he was very, very close to actually skipping the first round altogether. Now that being said, let's check out this very nice game. Ediz Gürel has the white pieces, and he opens with pawn to e4. Like I said, it will be a very well-known theoretical struggle. Knight f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5 to Ruy Lopez, and now a6. Morphy's defense, bishop to a4, knight to f6, and castles. And here, as this is a classical game, we will discuss some of the options that black has. Bishop to e7 and b5 are the top moves in this position, but here we have knight captures on e4, the open way to play the Morphy's defense. d4, and now bishop to e7. Rook to e1 chases away the knight, but now first pawn to b5. And there are 3 options that white can go for here. Obviously, you can attack or you could capture the knight on e4. You could advance the pawn to d5 and attack the knight on c6, or you could just move the bishop back to b3. All 3 lines are very, very interesting. In the game, bishop to b3 was played, but I'm just going to quickly show you what happens if you capture on e4. Then you get d5, the rook gets attacked, knight captures on e5, now threatening the c6 knight, knight captures, rook captures, and only now b captures on a4. And now after queen to e1, preventing black from castling, bishop to e6, and now let's say pawn to f4, preparing pawn to f5, so g6, and then white just continues development, knight to c3, and so on. And white will have a very comfortable game. Black has a ruined pawn structure on the queen side, but that also means that black has the semi-open b file for his rook, and black does have the bishop pair. So it's a trade-off. If you want to allow this to black, then you should definitely play rook captures on e4. Another thing is pawn to d5, which will be met with knight to c5, just getting your knight out of harm's way and attacking the bishop on a4. And after the bishop moves, you will play knight to a5. You will really go after that bishop, and after knight captures, you will play d6, chase away the knight, and something like knight to c6. Captures, captures, knight captures on b3, a captures, you will castle, and okay, there's this annoying pawn on c6, but as we know from theory, nothing to be worried about. So after this b5 move, we have bishop to b3, avoiding rook captures on e4 and d5 altogether, and now pawn to d5. Again, all known theory. D captures on e5, bishop to e6, and now pawn to c3. We have castles by Ivic, and now knight b to d2. Knight to c5, attacking the bishop, and now, okay, bishop to c2 is a well-known move, knight to f1 is a well-known move. Here we have knight to d4, and now knight captures on d4, c captures, and now not taking the bishop, but knight to d3, attacking the rook, which is fine. Ediz uses this to lift his rook to e3, then you can shift it to g3 to attack the black king. Knight captures on c1, rook captures, and now pawn to a5, preparing pawn to a4, again, all known moves. Rook e to c3, doubling up here, going after the c7 pawn, and there is a game where rook to c8 was played, I think even a few games, but here we have pawn to a4 by Ivic, and it is now as of move 16 that we have a completely new game. Now look at what happens. Bishop back to c2, of course the bishop has to move, and it's very useful on this diagonal. Pawn to a3, just messing up Ediz's queenside pawn structure. B captures on a3. You could also play b4. I'm just gonna, point that out here, as it's a very nice move. The problem is, if you play bishop captures on b4, then no worries. You can just play rook captures on c7, and the queen cannot take the rook because bishop captures on h7, and the queen hangs. So you don't really gain all that much by capturing here. And if you play rook to c8, again, you will defend the pawn with rook to b1, and you will have a great position with black's pawn on a3 being weak. So b4 will actually be a very, very strong pawn, controlling the c5 square very nicely. But okay, b captures on a3 was played. We have bishop captures on a3, attacking the rook on c1, rook to b1, and now pawn to c5. So all makes sense. Those are very, very good moves. D captures on c5, and now pawn to d4. Chases away the rook, rook to g3. And here, for reasons that I will not explain, as it will spoil the moment, black has to play pawn to d3, and then the game continues. It will sort of break the harmony of white's pieces. But here, bishop captures on c5 was played right away, and now Velimir's position is completely lost. So feel free to pause the video and try to find this elusive idea for Ediz while I give you a couple of seconds. It is not an easy combination to spot. You have to really look deep. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this beautiful checkmating sequence. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is bishop captures on h7 with check. That's the move that wins, and I'm sure you guys thought of it, because then the queen comes into the game. But what comes after that? That was the part where you had to look real deep. King captures on h7, and now queen to h5 with check. King to g8, and of course queen to h6. Now threatening checkmate. Only one way to stop this, pawn to g6, and now comes knight to e4. And you cannot allow knight to f6 check. This ends the game. So bishop back to e7, and now look at this beautiful move, rook to f3. Point is that if knight to f6 check lands, bishop capture, bishop captures and pawn captures. Once the pawn comes to f6, there will be no stopping queen to g7 checkmate. So how can you stop this? You can't push the f pawn, you just lose the g pawn. Is there anything you can do here? Well, you could play bishop to f5. This sort of breaks the harmony again of white's attackers, but it doesn't really do all that much, as Ediz just breaks through the position with a beautiful rook captures on f5. The point is the same. You have to gain control over the f6 square, and if the rook is captured, then knight to f6 check. You have to capture only move, pawn captures, and now it's checkmate on the next move, or you have to give up your queen, but you don't have any compensation to give up the queen like this. It's a queen and rook against two rooks. You are getting checkmated basically in a couple of moves. So after rook captures on f5, rook to a6 was played, adding a defender to the 6th rank, but it doesn't matter. Just rook back to f3, and he was in this position on move 28 that Velimir Ivic resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. The rook is coming to h3, and it is impossible to stop checkmate whatever you do, so of course he just resigned here. Really great start for young Ediz, who takes a beautiful win with the white pieces here. He will have to play another game, as World Cup is of course two classical games, and then you go into tie breaks. But now he will have to face Velimir Ivic, where he will be having the white pieces. And if you've seen him play, he truly is a great attacker, and it's not going to be easy. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, first game that finished, and what a spectacular finish it was. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon